Hey guys, so I just want to let everybody know that this episode is going to be a little bit different pace than where we're normally at. We go get a little bit more serious about some life topics, a little bit more mental health, some physical health, a little bit of diet stuff. We do hit on a little bit of stuff on some cars here and there about an upcoming event James might go to, and a little bit of talk on the future of the internal combustion engine, hybrids, electric cars. So stick around if you want to listen to that. If you want to just go straight to that, I see how it is. Just jump to the end. But no, we had a lot of fun. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up. This one's a little different than normal, but we really enjoyed it. Hope you will too. Enjoy.
Awesome. Enjoy. All right,
What's
Chris.
up?
What's up? Here we are, episode 21 of the High Octane Dads podcast. We're there, people. We made it past episode 20. We were at episode 21. So we're rolling into this. Tonight's just Chris and I. It's going to be a little bit of a quick episode, just saying that up front. So if you like the shorter ones, this is going to be the one for you.
Yeah.
I know, Chris, you started the new job this week. I got a ton of stuff going on. I'll be out of town for work next week. So just a lot of stuff getting wrapped up. We'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, we didn't want to miss a week. So here we are.
Yeah. Life's really busy right now, and I'm getting ready to lose my mic.
It wouldn't be an episode without something falling. All right. While he's fixing the mic, a couple updates for me. So working on getting my daughter a little bit something newer to drive to college. So we're doing a little bit of wheeling and dealing and trading. And so I've spent all afternoon working on that. That's where I'll be all afternoon tomorrow, is dealing with that and with the dealership. So wish me luck, pray for me, whatever you choose. But all right, Chris, you back with us?
Yeah, I'm here. My ship is about to hit the floor, so.
All right, man. Well, as long as it doesn't hit the fan, we'll be all right.
I mean, nah, we good.
So I think this setup's pretty good. So I think you got some of the lights off in the back. I tried turning my overhead light and everything off. I think this turned out pretty good. So I'll probably gonna stick with this for a while, other than a little more organization in the shop, like we talked about last week.
Yeah, and don't mind my glare. I feel like so my new job. I'm trying a new thing. This new job, I've always worn a hat. Like even as a kid, shit, I wore a hat forever. And all my adult jobs I've had, I could wear a hat. And honestly, I could probably wear a hat in the office here that I'm at now, because there's a few people that do. But trying something new, shaving my head every couple days. So not
well, it looks slick, man.
Yeah, get some turtle wax. I mean, hey, if we got any wax sponsors here, or what do we call it? Like some head shaving companies. And I know eventually I'd like to maybe work on needing some beard oil.
I was gonna say, I feel like the beard oils I make might
yeah,
it's got a little argan oil and some
yeah. Well,
castor oil in it.
I did whack my beard down a little bit because it was getting a little scraggly, and I'm like, look, I'm going in new. I'll let it grow back out a little bit. I need to get a better trimmer to kind of trim it up a little bit better as it goes out, so it doesn't look as wild. But
yeah,
I'm never a guy that can do that. It gets the itching, and I'm like, shit, it's got to go.
Yeah, I can definitely help you out. And speaking of that, I was there's a couple of podcasts I used to listen to. One of them's the Beard Loss podcast, and those guys are pretty they're pretty great, and they've got all kind of practical advice. Like they're the ones that when I started out, like I never thought about you brush your beard, and I never was like happy, but like you got to brush it kind of from underneath too, and sort of helps it to be fuller. And I felt like even the beard oils, I was like, come on guys, like beard oils and beard butters, this is some crap they're selling you, but dude, I mean
it helps,
it makes the difference. Yeah, because I mean as it grows, right, all those oils are just going away from the skin and into the hair, and so it'll dry it out, and you'll get really itchy. And mine's real bad. I'll get it right here if I don't keep some beard oil and stuff in it.
Yeah, for me it'll get real bad. Like I'll be like digging or like gets up in my nose, and which I'm bad about not trimming everything like I should. I just kind of like let it go, and then like I'm like, all right, I got to do it.
Well, I know those.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say those guys would disown me because I do trim the mustache. I can't, like, I envy the guys that can have the big bushy mustache and it looks so great. But like I go to bite a sandwich or eat some soup and the hair is all in my mouth and I'm like, nope. And I got to go at least cut this down. Like I love the beard, but I can't do the big bushy mustache. So kudos to you guys that can. Yeah. I tried it. I just can't do it. But what were you gonna say, Chris?
So this is, I guess, a little bit more. I don't know. I wouldn't say bougie or whatever, but as far as like, sorry, it's kind of like a mental thing. So sometimes I've felt like if I'm kind of in a bad way, kind of feeling crummy, whatever, I feel like just rough, not necessarily sick, but just kind of like in my head or whatever. Sometimes, like, if I go and change things up and like I'll just go and like if I have a beard or like my hair's kind of horseshoed out for a while, I'll go and just like clean myself up really good and shave, trim, cut my hair, whatever's left of it, clean myself up, and then like honestly, I feel way better. And I don't know
Oh,
if it's I kind of get to a point where I just like I feel like I'm letting myself go in some ways, and then like I'll go a few weeks and I'm like, all right, and then I'll just kind of like get my shit together, and I'm like, just doing that makes me feel better.
yeah. Well, I've got two theories about that. So, and we don't have to spend the whole episode on this. I know we're a little short on time tonight, but one is my mom has owned a hair salon for not quite as long as I can remember, but just about. She's always cut hair, but she's owned her own salon for a long time. And dude, a haircut and things like absolutely can make you feel like a new man.
Oh
Just
yeah, absolutely.
just getting it. Even when I go in sometimes and just straighten this line up, right, and just clean this
Right.
up a little bit so it doesn't look really scraggly, just makes a huge difference. Take the ends off a little bit just to shape it up.
Mhm.
Really can just kind of put you in the right frame of mind if
Right.
you need to freshen things up. But as far as like the shave and the beard, I will say I've had quite a few times where it's like, you know what, I'm just going to shave it and start over. And really thinking about that, like as you grow it and you decide you want to change, right? If I said I want to change and I want a long beard, how long does that take?
Right.
But if you want to freshen things up for a change, shaving it off is instant. You just it's
Yeah.
there and now you look totally different. You look
Right.
fresh and clean or whatever. And I always I always have to remind myself like I look like a 12-year-old without the beard and I'm kind of ugly. So then I just remember to keep it on and I'll I don't cut it too short. But I have had, just the goatee and
Yeah. Yeah.
now I will say if you ever shave from having a beard, you at a minimum, at some point, every guy does this, I think. I know I do. So you're going to trim it down to just the chops for a little
Oh
bit.
yeah.
Then you're going to go down to just the goatee, then
Hmm.
the mustache. You got to see what you look like in all those different phases before you
Yeah.
just
So I've
go
got
all
a
the way down.
lot of pictures of me done like that over the years because
Yeah.
I've always been one like mostly through my 20s. I kept a goatee,
Hmm.
and every now and then I let the beard go out a little bit, and or I just let the goatee get really long, and then I'd
Hmm.
knock it down. But I've always been one. My wife really prefers me clean shaven, but I'm like,
My
it's a
wife
lot.
said that and now, like, she loves the beard. I
Yeah.
mentioned like shaving. She's like, you can, but
Well, it's a lot of work, and I'm lazy. So, like majority of the time, if I shave completely, I take my clippers and take the guard off, and I just knock everything down to the lowest setting. And I'll use that's the way I would do my head, my beard, whatever. And people were like, "Oh, which my hair is light brown, blonde, kind of gray now." So when I knock it down real low, it looks like I'm clean shaven until you're like really up close. Like I'm sure it's hard to pick up on here. But yeah, I mean, she's always like that, but it's just a lot of work. And I'm like, I shave, and then it's like prickly later that day, or like my neck starts itching. And I'm like, I'm not a fan. But
yeah,
um, so as far as that goes, like you said, making a change or whatever. And I will say, so far with this new job, even though I'm still learning it, there's still a whole lot. I'm kind of overwhelmed because it's a very big change. But honestly, as far as my mental state, I feel so much better. I feel so much more relief from where I was.
hmm,
I mean, like I said, it was very scary. It's still scary. There's still a whole lot of unknowns. And like I'm in there today, we're going over stuff, and I'm going through my head. I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, I'm a little in over my head here. You know, did I fake
over
it
your
too much
head.
to make it?
I
Yeah.
see what you did there.
I'm like, did I fake it too much to make it? I mean, where are we at here? And so, but they're all like, everybody's like, you're fine, you're good, you'll be. It's just so it's just.
Yeah,
But even still, with all that, I feel better than where I was, and I'm hoping that that'll help a lot of things over the next several months. So I'm excited to see how things go for
yeah.
here. my personal life and my career. So I'm excited.
No, I'm excited for you, man. I've definitely, just in chatting with you, because, for those of y'all that don't know, we do this once a week. Chris and I sometimes might run out of stuff to talk about by the time we meet to record because we chat just about
All
every
day
day.
long.
I probably
Yeah.
talk to Chris as much, as I talk to my wife, to be honest with you. Like
Hmm.
we talk all the time. But the truth is, I could definitely tell a difference just in chatting with you and your demeanor. Like you're definitely in a better spot, and I'm happy for you
Right.
to be in that. And I think that's the best that any of us can hope for. Is sometimes you just need a change and be willing to take that leap and do it. And
Yeah.
I'm going to segue a bit into when we started this thing. And so for all you guys that come here just for the car content, I promise we do talk about cars. But when we started this whole thing, right, it was about the challenges that dads face and the stuff we go through. I mean, we're a lot of times may not be the sole breadwinners, right? But we're a part of that, providing for the family
Hmm.
and making sure they have the things they need. And that comes with a whole host of challenges that we as men generally don't want to talk about or
Right.
find that we can't talk about. And sometimes just having a buddy that you can talk about it with because
Hmm.
they're in the same place you are is great. But just being aware of it and trying to find something to kind of get yourself back where you need to be is huge. And so
Oh yeah.
I'm definitely glad you're
Um,
kind of on
And
that process.
and to put it into perspective, like some of it, like my career's path's changed. My hours are a little different. I used to work till 3 p.m. We're Eastern time. Now I'm getting off at 4:30 for the time being, which is different for me than I'm used to, but it's not bad. It's kind of thrown me for a loop on some of my stuff I do in the evening. But like today, like this week so far, like just Tuesday, but like today I got off at 4:30. I ended up not leaving the office until probably like quarter till, 10 till,
Mm,
and I ran straight to the gym. I was at the gym for like 45 minutes, and then I
it's
got
awesome.
home at like, I don't know, a little after 6. And I came went in, ate a bowl of chili, and then here it is. We're in here recording something real quick. It's 10 minutes to 8. I gotta go pick up my daughter at cheer practice at 8, and then I gotta pick up my other daughter at 9 o'clock from her new job. So
Yeah.
it never ends.
I think that's the truth of it though, man. Like, we're balancing these responsibilities and this for you and I is definitely an outlet. Like, I mean,
Oh,
we
yeah.
want the listeners to be here and like the Facebook group's been huge. Like I'm loving the community. There's
Oh,
so much
absolutely.
more activity and everybody's posting their cars and it's killer. I hope that stays. I hope people use it as a place to go ask questions about their projects and stuff like that. But by the same, like on the other side of that coin, right? I hope people use it like if they need somebody to talk to, like if you're struggling, like that's when you and I talked about this. I don't think we've mentioned it, but we've not really dove into it. That like when we started this, we really wanted it to be a place for dads to like have something to listen to, realize that they're not by themselves, and really understand that we're here for each other and that it's tough and
Oh, it is.
we all got to get through it together. And so having a community for that I think is awesome. I know that sounds really touchy feely, but truth is, like, I believe it wholeheartedly. You mentioned being back in the gym like 2 weeks now. I've been steady at least 4 days a week doing a new
Hmm.
like a upper body lower body split. So I do one day
Right.
upper body and then I do a lower body thing. So I'm doing at least 2 leg days a week.
Cool.
And bro, like I mean, I feel great. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but my quads, my glutes, my hamstrings are just like, I hate you. I hate everything about what you're doing.
Right.
But and I'll shout out to I don't know what you use to track your workouts, but Heavy. It's
Mhm.
Hevy. I think
Okay.
it's on iPhone and Android, but I've got it on Android. Like I even pay for the premium, but like me and the wife, we can share workouts back together, but they have some
Cool.
pre-built ones and stuff. And this is just one of the pre-built workouts, but it's been a game changer just to change up the routine. So I'm not in there doing the same machines or the same
Right.
weights I've been doing. I'm doing nothing but dumbbells and body weight stuff right now. And like,
Yeah. That and
it's got me
honestly, I
excited
love it.
about it. Yeah. It's got me
Yeah.
excited about it
You
again.
got to change it up. So for the longest
Hmm.
time, I used was it Beyond the Whiteboard or something? It was what it
I
was
hadn't heard of that
called.
one.
And then Chalk It Pro, which those are ones that typically a lot of I guess like CrossFit gyms used.
Okay.
And right now, I'm not really tracking anything. I've only been in there about 1 or 2 days a week. Like I said, the where I'm going is it's a physical therapy office, but they do sports medicine, sports training,
Mm-hmm.
and they have two locations. And the main location is like a full blown gym, and they do physical therapy in there. But they have like a powerlifting gym and all that. And the other location one that I'm going to is way smaller, and like you have to sign up to go in, and they only allow six at a time, up to six at a time, which is great because there's typically PT clients in there at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and so like it's kind of crowded when it's like a bunch of people in there. Like tonight was the latest I'd ever been, and I'm like, okay, there's a lot of people here, but I mean, they programmed for me. I gave them my background. I came in, kind of did some like prerequisite stuff, and I've got like three workouts that I've been rotating through right now. And so like the other week I came in and we had went and done the like Top Golf. It's called the Drive Shack. First time I mean, I'm not a golfer. I've never done anything more than putt putt.
Those
So
places are fun, even if you're not, though.
it is, and it was
Yeah.
a blast. Me and my wife went. We had a great time. I'm out there like chopping wood. I mean, full on. What's that Adam Sandler movie? Um,
Happy Gilmore, baby.
Happy Gilmore. I keep wanting to
Classic.
say I keep wanting to say Billy Madison, and I know that's
Yeah.
not it, but
Yeah.
I
But
mean
I
it's the
get it.
same time frame. And I'm out there just like oh, whack, hitting the ground, and it was a good time. But I tell you what, the next couple days, everything was sore. My
Dude.
obliques,
Yeah.
everything. So I went in there and I'm like, look, I'm sore. I've done this. We need to do something else. Hold on one second.
So in typical dad fashion, Chris needs to go pick his daughter up from cheer practice. So I think what we're going to do is I think I can pause the recording. We can pick back up. Chris, if you want to reconvene here in a little bit, we'll
Yeah,
finish
yeah,
this
yeah.
episode up and then,
Yeah, I can do that.
we'll probably have 10 or 15 minutes more. And then
Oh
I'm,
yeah.
I'm thinking just as an FYI, Chris, if you can go ahead and jet. So this guy, we had some really embarrassing passes at the track a couple weeks ago. I'm not going to tell that story ever to anybody. But
Wasn't that
so
bad.
it was. So I will. I mean, it's the truth is I've made maybe a dozen passes in my life. Like mistakes were bound to happen, and honestly, I made some pretty solid passes in the past, and it was like, okay, I didn't do too bad. So when I make a mistake, I have to remind myself like I've not been on the track a ton, so I'm still
Right.
learning. Um, but the plan is to get this thing. I took the whole day off Friday this week. I'm going to have it on the trailer. I'm going to have it at the track when the gates open, when the track's still warm and it's not so cold outside. Because it was like 47 degrees outside temperature when we were there. So
Yeah.
I just kept spinning. And so the plan is to be there. A whole bunch of the Central Georgia car scene guys are going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Get some testing in, play with the tune a little bit while I've got some folks that know what the world they're doing to help me. And when I'm done, Chris and I might try to get together and do like a trackside chat, either as a bonus
Yeah.
short episode or we'll append it to the end of this one. But Chris, if you want to go pick your daughter up, I think you'll be back in
I'll probably like
between the
15,
couple
20 minutes.
obligations. Well, so I guess the question is, don't you have you got to pick another
Yeah.
one up?
Yeah, but not till like 9 o'clock.
Okay, well, just let me know when you're back. We'll reconvene
Yeah.
on this one. We'll finish this up, and then we'll do some trackside chat on Friday. And this will be
Yeah.
kind of a hodgepodge episode. But hey, we're
Yeah.
busy dads. That's what we do.
Yeah. I think I'll be gone like 20 minutes, so it won't be
Cool.
long.
Well, I'll go eat dinner and check on the kids and practice guitar with Daniel, and
Awesome.
we'll
All
meet
right.
back. Cool,
All
man.
right. See you in a little bit.
Thanks.
All right. I'll be back.
So we were talking a little bit about workout routines and things like that, and we were talking about grip strength and so like with deadlifts. I haven't deadlifted in a while, but I will say, even doing like the shrugs, like I got to where I would use the shrug machine, and I was doing like 4 plates on each side, but just
Yeah.
just grabbing that with your hands, like I've gotten to where like these knuckles, like I can't crack my knuckles, dude. It hurts. Like my knuckles,
Really?
I think it's just from gripping all that and like the pressure of it. Because I see a lot of the guys they've got the straps and then they wrap it around the handles.
Yeah, but that's when
And
you're like going heavy
yeah,
and you're doing like one in my mind, if you're doing one rep max or whatever, or if you're doing really, really long ones, but
yeah. I've never tried the straps. I've never used like gloves or anything like that.
right.
I know we were talking about, like my wife will use the gloves for, it just seems to
Protecting our
help
hands.
her. Yeah. I mean, more or less protecting her hands. And she feels like it helps her with her grip strength. But you were talking about that, that maybe
Right.
that doesn't really affect
I
the
do
grip
believe there
strength at
is
all.
some science behind it that you're not getting the full feel of the bar. So I don't know if you've ever, I think you have, I think you've sent me pictures and videos of actually like doing deadlifts barefoot.
Yeah,
And
I've always done
okay.
deadlifts and like just
And
my
so that
socks.
way you get more of a feel for the floor and how to push through the floor. And I want to say a lot of it goes hand in hand uh, with
Dad
doing
joke.
yeah, exactly, doing barbell exercises with your hands. And when you get that extra layer, much like the reason that we're probably dads, you're not wearing a protective covering and it doesn't feel the same. And we're talking about gloves here. Stay with the picture. But uh, but no, I mean it's something about like your grip and like the I guess the nervous system and just feeling and that muscle memory and just the way it feels. So like for me, when I deadlift, I've always done overhand. When I get heavy, I'll switch, but I make sure I alternate. Like I'm usually when I go down, I have my right hand overhand, my left hand underhand,
Yeah, that's how I
and
do it.
but I've gotten to the point where I'll flip flop and rotate because you do create a lot of imbalances when you have that rotation. And so I try to do like if I do one set, I'll do one set this way and I'll do one set the other way. It might feel weird as shit. Might have to drop down a little bit on weight, but or reps, but I do that. But I went through some Ollie classes there the other year, and that was great. But we worked on my grip strength, and really, I was at a point before I started doing that where I was at like 405 overhand on deadlift,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. I mean, it was like stressing it. I had to be fresh. But I really worked on doing more of a hook grip with the Ollie class because we do all hook grip with like cleans and snatch. So I started like now I do all my deadlifts overhand with a hook grip, and I know I'm losing a little bit of weight strength there, which right now I'm not built up to where I was. Today was a deadlift day for me, so that was exciting. But I mean, it wasn't super heavy. Like I did a rep scheme of like 8, 6, 6, 4, like 135, 185, 205, 225. So
That's, and I know, like, I'm sure there's science behind it, right? Me being
right,
a guy who didn't really start lifting until I was 30 or very close to it,
right.
as it's
Well,
always seemed odd to me, the idea of working up like that, because it feels like you're going to get more tired. Like I get warming up, do a couple warm
right.
up sets, but like the idea of like, okay, I'm going to go for my max. Like if I want to go for my max, I would warm up doing something else and then go for like a 1 rep max or something like that. It
Right.
seems to me that makes more sense because that muscle's, I'm more fresh. I've not
I don't
already
know. Like,
strained it and
I mean,
gotten
I guess
tired, but
so.
I mean, just
I
logically, that's
think you
just how
froze
it's
up on me.
always. No,
Oh.
I think that's how it's always, seemed to me would make more
Mm-hmm.
sense. But you always see, I mean, there's a lot of power lifters at our gym, and they definitely, they'll start out and they'll do like the 135 for however many reps, and then they'll bump up and up and up until they get to their max. And so, I mean, obviously, it's probably maybe the right way, but it still doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, you just think about it like a car. You got to warm it up a little bit and get her going.
Oh man, crank it up, foot to the floor.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't disagree with that because I do that sometimes. Not on my stuff now, but when I was younger. But I don't know. I mean,
I mean,
I
I
see.
fully admit that I'm probably wrong in that, but it just
Well,
seems that it would be better when it's fresh, right? When you're just getting started to
oh,
try to
I
go for
agree.
that heavier weight.
Now, if you're shooting to do a max, like a 1, 3, 5, 8, whatever you're trying to shoot for, yeah, we might. I mean, I've always scaled up to it, but like, let's say if I'm just doing a rep scheme to do, get whatever out, I'm not always going shooting to do all that I can do. Um, but like if I'm going to shoot for like a 1 rep or 3 rep or whatever, I'm like, you got to watch it. You don't want to do too big of jumps because you do want to prepare your body for the extra load, but you don't want to just be like, okay, pick up the bar. Like I understand what you're saying, like be fresh, but you want to have your body acclimated to that movement that you're about to do with some substantial weight.
Yeah, I get
And
that.
I can't remember what it's called offhand, but there is a an exercise you can not exercise, but like I think
Like a
you and I have
progression.
talked about it. What's that?
You talk about like a progression or a way to.
Yeah, so like let's say if you're going to do a 1 rep max and you work up, whatever, and let's say you're going to do a squat and your current max is 300 and you put 325 on the bar and you pick it up and you just step out with it and you just stand there for a second or two like you're getting ready to squat, and then you re-rack it and then pull that weight off, and then you go do, let's say 315, and it's like nothing. What it does is it's I can't remember what it's called, but it tricks your like nervous system to expect that heavier weight. I don't know all the lingo for it, but it really works. I've done it multiple times, and I'm like, no fucking way, but it works.
I have to
But it
try it.
also depends. Like if you burn yourself out going into it, it's not going to work. You got to have an idea of what you're trying to do. You don't just go in there and just, like when I was a kid, we go in there and just, oh, we're gonna fucking do,
See how much weight. Yeah.
yeah, see how much weight, how many times we can do it. And I mean, I've done some dumb rep schemes, and I've done some rep schemes for different things. Like I've done 20 rep back squats, which is insane. And I think I've done them at like 285 or 295 or something for 20 reps. And it sucks. That's a cardio workout. Like over 10, 12 is a cardio workout. I don't give a fuck what you say. I've breathed harder doing that shit than anything. And I ran track. But
Well, like so this routine I've been doing on the heavy app that I mentioned, right? Like so it's a lot of dumbbell stuff, but everything's 12 to 15 rep for the most part. Which is interesting. I mean, and it's different, but it forces me to think about a weight that I can legitimately hit within that range,
right.
right? Because and then like doing like diamond push-ups. I did those yesterday, and it's like the idea of doing like was it RPE something, right? So you're really wanting to go until you're kind of gauging, like, okay, I could probably get two more. So you're kind of going like not to failure, but like right there before that,
Right.
and then continuing to progress. And it's just been different, and I think that's part of why I'm enjoying it.
Right. Well, and that's the way a lot of the training that I've done over the last several years, they would push you to do, we're going to do weight training. Hey, for this, we're going to make it to where, hey, shoot to have two left in the tank when you're done. You don't want to go and burn yourself out every time. Not saying that sometimes you not, but you don't want to train to failure every time.
Yeah.
But I mean, because that's a whole mental thing, as it as it is too. There's been times I've gone in the gym, felt great, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this, and I'm like ready to go. And as soon as I get going, I feel great. As soon as I get going, my body's like, nope. So,
Well, it's
but
wild. I've walked in there before and like, I do not want to be here today.
yeah,
And I'll push more weight sometimes on those days just by making myself get there and doing it than I would have if it's
oh
on a
yeah,
day where it's like I'm excited to go. So
yeah, and then typically you feel better,
yeah.
mentally and everything when you're done. There's been many times, the hardest part is getting in there, but there's been many times where I'm like, fuck, I don't want to go today. I feel like shit, da, 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 da. And then I go and
Yep.
I'm like, man, I feel great. So, I mean, there's a lot of science in it. We're not meant to be stationary
No.
and to eat like we do. And I mean, I'm very guilty of it. I'm hoping that, this change. I was telling my wife that I'm excited to see just how I feel and look emotionally and physically, like let's say after the next 3 months. Just, aside from like the winter blues, which I'm hopefully won't affect me as bad. But
Yeah.
I mean, just from the new career change and like my eating habits, oof, and things of that nature. So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and trying to get back into the gym a little bit more regularly than I was. At least for me, about 3 days a week is perfect. 2 to 3. Right now, I'm hitting about 1 or 2 just with our crazy schedule. We're getting ready to have competition cheer ending, but I'm sure we'll roll into another sport. So we're always all over the place. I'm hoping we can get at least a couple months where it slows down, but then you've got the holidays coming, so that's going to have its own challenges. And then I
Yeah.
know at some point in the next couple months I'll probably be in Chicago for a couple weeks. So I'm hopefully I can hit up Steve and Bill
Shout
and
out
them
to
on there.
Steven, Bill. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be a good time. But
Yeah.
If not, I'll be sitting in a hotel by myself for a whole weekend.
Well, I'll be down in Orlando next week for work, so that'll be interesting. It's a big conference for managed service provider IT companies, like where I've always worked, and it looks like a good time. There's an evening that's like a bourbon night. It's like a bourbon chat thing, and they got like it's like got a cigar rolling seminar and all.
Oh
It's
wow.
crazy. Like it's all kind of stuff at this thing. And then there's one thing. It's like a quiet room with like these like massage chairs you can sit in for like 10 minutes at a time. I'm like, I told the guys I work with, I was like, all right, you'll know where to find me because I
Yeah.
don't remember what a quiet room is.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Oh yeah. I know that.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good event. I'm excited to go and check it out. It's put on by one of the bigger
Cool.
vendors that we work with that I've worked with my entire career. So excited to get to go and experience that. But yeah, Chicago's pretty cool, man. You gotta,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've been there one time and I never left O'Hare. So
Well, so one of the guys that works on my team where I'm at now lives in Chicago, and we've talked about it. And it's so interesting because you hear so many people talk about Chicago pizza, right? And it's all about deep dish pizza. And but everybody that I know that's a local to Chicago likes tavern style thin crust crispy pizza.
yeah,
They don't
probably
care
except
about the
Steve.
deep dish. It's all the yeah, it's all the like touristy people that I think argue the most about the Chicago style deep dish pizza. So, but
Yeah,
I
well,
hope to get to try. You know, I don't eat carbs very much, but if I was in Chicago,
mm,
I'm gonna have pizza. I'm gonna give it a
man,
shot. So
so that's what we got to work on. That's my next thing. So I went to the doctor last week and it was just to check on put some medication and all I had. And they're bitching at me about uh, my last several blood tests I had were telling me that I've got a fatty liver. And my doctor's like, oh look, you gotta change your diet, you gotta exercise more. And I agree. And I know this last year or two for me has been kind of put me in a weird place there for a while. And I'm hopefully, like I said, with some of these changes that it will help me. So maybe some of those will get better, but I definitely need to look at something with my diet. And we've tried some of the ketogenic style diets before. I did really well with more of a paleo, I guess, style, or uh,
but
it says trying to reconnect. Not well, paleo or just like a clean eating, like the whole,
yeah,
just nothing with ingredients you can't pronounce, no sugar, no
that's where I'm at,
grains.
man. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm very much. I've been doing. I went down a rabbit hole the other day, and I know like you can definitely go down a rabbit hole. We could do a whole probably episode around this about what's real, what's not, what's legit, and if you listen to, I mean, depending on who you listen to, that every potential point of view on this is correct, right? What's your truth? But the thing is, like, I just in my mind, the more it is to the original product, right? The better it's got to be for you.
right.
Plain and
I will
simple.
say,
Cut everything else out. Like that
right.
to me makes the most sense.
To me, that's what I enjoy doing, and I like. Um, Life gets super busy for us. We're really bad about picking up something,
Oh yeah.
carry out. Like last night, I think we had subs. So I'm like, here I am eating, a loaf of bread basically. But I mean, uh, like we've done this stuff in the past. Like I said, I do, for me, I do really well with, cutting out the dairy and, nothing with anything you can't pronounce, cutting out sugar and all that mess. But you really have to plan ahead. You really have to do some sort of a meal prep.
For sure.
I hate doing it. I'm really not good with it. But also, what I've found, the best diet, if you're going to diet, is the one that you can stick to, and the one that you're,
100%.
even if you're eating some junk. I'm not, as far as, I'm bad about looking at numbers, but I'm really bad about like tracking. And I've never been. I'm more one to be like, eat this, don't eat that, and just eat whatever you want as long as it's that stuff. And I mean, you could still. It's not good to be in excess, but if you're eating a large amount of protein and fats, you're not going to be hungry all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, protein's huge, right? And that's any of the folks that I've known that do dietary guidance, nutritional guidance, that kind of stuff. Like the first thing they're going to tell anybody is get plenty of water, right? and up your protein intake to, 1 gram per desired body weight or zero point 0.8, whatever, whatever
Mm-hmm.
that number is that they recommend. But the truth is, upping the water intake is going to make sure that, you're not feeling, hungry quite as much, and up in the protein is going to keep you feeling fuller longer. And those two things, it's not that they're magic. It's just that the chemistry of it, like you're going to feel full. You're not going to want to eat all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If you fill yourself with a bunch of empty calories, especially sodas, like that's the world's worst around, like,
Mm-hmm.
not saying like, oh, sodas are just absolutely the end all be all worst thing. I do the zero sugar ones sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's just an empty calorie. It's not going to make you feel
Mm-hmm.
full. It's not going to make you less thirsty. Truth be
Yeah. Oh
told,
no.
it's going to make you more thirsty, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
And and so they're just empty calories. But the same thing with a lot of foods, right? If you burn through
Yep.
it really quickly, and then you're hungry again in 20, 30 minutes, that wasn't a good meal or wasn't a good choice, right? Even as a
No.
snack. Whereas, I can grab, I will say, from, even though they're probably ingredients we can't pronounce, like the Quest stuff, I pretty much buy,
Yeah.
if I see their stuff, I don't really look at it too close. I buy it because I've eaten it for a while. I've lost weight eating it. They're always great tasting and they've got plenty of protein in them. But,
Mm-hmm.
I
Their
can eat
chips
one of
are
those
awesome.
bars. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're
But like,
great.
as we've went back to, some carbs, right? But trying to be smart about the carbs that we take in. Like I'll buy sweet potato chips, far cheaper than a $4 bag of Quest chips, right?
Yeah.
And so they've got carbohydrates, but they're supposed to be a little bit better, a little cleaner.
It's a different carbohydrate. I
I
mean,
said
it's still a
cleaner.
carbohydrate.
Should have
Yeah.
said cleaner.
Yeah. It's definitely a different carbohydrate, but my grandmother's supposed, well, it's still carbs because she's, got sugar and all that. And I'm like, I understand, grandma, but we're not dietitians and we're
It's
not,
just, it's the same
so
difference
don't
with,
listen to us, but
yeah. I
it
mean,
breaks down different.
I'm absolutely telling you what I've read and then what I've
Right.
experienced, right? So I've
Right.
been somebody who did keto for over 4 years, and everybody's like, "That's not sustainable." Like we straight
Right.
did it, right?
And
And we
some people
stuck
do
to it.
great with it.
And I didn't. The only thing where it got frustrating for me was I wasn't able to put on the muscle the way I
Right.
wanted to, right?
Right.
Without doing some carbohydrate. And so like now, if it's a day I know I'm working out, the Uncle Ben's ready rice, the whole grain brown rice,
Yeah.
canned chicken, which I know probably isn't, it's just like rib meat and whatever, but open that up. I throw a can of Swanson's chicken, some Uncle Ben's ready rice together. Um, Sweet Baby Ray's makes a sugar-free honey mustard. Put
Hmm.
a little bit of that in there and stir it up, and just that's lunch. And literally, so that one pack of rice and the can of chicken is 2 days. So I'll eat half of it today, half of it tomorrow when I'm working out. Just to have some carbs for lunch before I go work out. It works for me. But the whole
Right.
grains, the sweet potatoes, I've had better results in introducing it back to my diet of somebody that did low carb without a lot of what I would consider adverse effects or weight gain or anything like that. So,
Yeah.
um, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
take what we say with a grain of salt because we're car
Yeah.
guys that just like to go lift weights.
Yeah. And I mean, we're not getting any younger. So, like, I know I've got some health issues. I've got some family history of heart disease. Both my grandfathers died relatively young of heart attacks. So one was 43, one was 59. So I've got, a little bit of blood pressure issues. And so we're definitely at a stage in life where we really need to think more about what we are putting into our bodies and
100%.
try to get a little extra movement in. And the whole mental aspect, because like I said, the last year or so, I can definitely tell myself, I was doing, let's say 2017, say 16, 17, I was really hitting the gym hard and I had some really good success. I had lost a bunch of weight and I was getting stronger, but I felt like I was plateaued in some ways. And then 2018, I hurt my back. 2019, I had back surgery, and then I was just getting back into it in the fall of 2019, and then COVID hit.
Hmm.
There at the end of the year, and everything got shut down. We were kind of whacked for a while, and then when I did go back, I was just kind of meandering through. And then last summer, we started getting busy, and I tweaked my back one morning, had to go through some physical therapy again, and then life got crazy. Hadn't been going to the gym, and can definitely feel I really haven't gained a ton of weight, but I can definitely feel I'm fluffier.
Yeah.
So and my energy levels are different, and my mental state was very different, which that could be affecting a lot of stuff as well. So, like I
What's all
said,
interconnected too, I think. I mean, as you
oh, it
get
is.
your physical health, not appearance, right? Like appearance matters because you want to,
Right.
but like body dysmorphia, like I will always see the fat kid. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't think I've mentioned this on this show, but at 5'7", right? When I was 18 years old, I was 230 pounds.
Yeah.
And none of that it wasn't no solid 230. That was a fluffy 230 for
Right.
sure. And to have gone down to 165 and then built back up to about 180, trying to
Hmm.
put intentionally weightlifting and putting muscle on. Like I started
Yeah.
with spin classes, treadmill, and higher rep stuff just to when I was losing weight. But I lost a majority of it just with diet. And if that's not proof that diet is the majority of it, right? Like if you can
It
control
is.
what you consume, hell, that's true of food and like media and social media and everything else.
Oh
But
my
but
God.
if you can control what
Yeah.
you consume, um, you know, you're gonna really see results. And then going and working out and moving more is
Well,
a huge
and
thing.
the atmosphere you keep yourself in, and the people that you keep around you, you're going to take on a lot of that. I think we've discussed this before, but
Mhm.
you're around a lot of hostile individuals and environments. It's going to bleed into everybody, and it really can drag you down in a lot of ways. So if you can, surround yourself with better people or things,
And
healthy outlets.
and the
Cars.
conversations that you allow yourself to be involved in, right? Like
Mhm.
there was a reel I seen the other day, and it was a woman, and she was talking about how if she went to her friend because her husband maybe came home from work and
Mhm.
didn't, um, you know, she felt that he was like verbally like hostile towards her, and then she goes and
Right,
tells her
right, right.
friend, right? Well, maybe in the moment she said maybe when I went and told my friend that he was verbally hostile, like that was my perception of it. Maybe it wasn't as bad as I said, but now I go home to my husband, we make up, we talk about it. He tells me where he was coming from. I realize, okay, it was a little too hostile. So there's always maybe he was too aggressive. She was perceived things
In
incorrectly,
a different
and
way.
somewhere in the middle was
The truth.
where because he may have had
Her
better
side, his
intentions
side,
than
and the
she
truth.
right. He had better intentions than she wanted to give him credit for.
Right,
She
right.
had feelings he didn't validate, right? And the truth is, like you said, in the middle. But now she knows her and her husband talked about it. They had an open and honest conversation like you should have in every marriage. She goes back to her friend though. Her friend still is perceiving that guy who was verbally hostile. She doesn't have any of that other context. So now what happens? And you end up in this feedback loop, right? And if you allow yourself to be in those conversations that only tell you what you want to hear and all that,
Mhm.
and you surround yourself with those kind of people, you're going to be in a bad way. I tell people all the time, I don't, if me and my wife have a, disagreement about anything, which doesn't happen a ton, not say we never disagree, but like right then we're like, nah, we got to talk about this. We're going to figure this out.
And that's the way it should be.
Right. We don't, but I definitely don't. And no offense to even like you, but I don't go to you and go, you ain't gonna believe what Crystal did today. She told me I couldn't go buy the new turbo for the Trans
Yeah.
Am. This is bullshit. She never
Well,
lets me do anything I want, even though she's been fully supportive of every other thing that I bought for this damn car. Right. The minute I tell you that, I'm not acknowledging all of that. I'm just saying, she told me that she thought it was
mhm.
dumb for me to buy that turbo. Never mind the reason she said that was because, my daughter needs a new car for college and we've got college
Mhm.
stuff to pay for and all of that, right? Like
Yeah.
there's context around that conversation you don't get. What are you going to do? You're
Yep.
going to tell me, yeah, man, that's bullshit. You need to buy that turbo,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so I just think it's important, to make sure you surround yourself with the right kind of conversations and people who will be level headed and honest with you, even when
Hmm.
you're the one being the jackass.
Dickhead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So
I agree.
good point. Good point for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I probably went off on
So,
a bit of a tangent there, but I really that
oh
I
yeah,
saw that reel today, and
really.
what you said just really made me think about that.
Yeah. So honestly, over the last several weeks, and I'm sure you've noticed it some too, with the new job and everything changing up or whatever, I've actually been on social media a lot less. I mean, one,
That's huge.
yeah, I'm trying to, and that could be some of my, I'm trying to be active, for this and all that, and I still have to have some sort of a presence, but, and it's not for any reason. I'm just trying to like, okay, I've got shit I'm trying to knock out, And I feel like over the last several months, I've kind of been so much in my head. There's so much I have to catch up on, and it was weighing on me so bad. And I feel like I'm getting to a point where maybe I can start chipping some more of this stuff away. So, but right now I'm just kind of focusing on all my transition and just feeling better. So hopefully a lot more things can start rolling before too long. But when we're not so damn busy, because we talked about this, trying to get in tonight when we could,
Mm-hmm.
and tomorrow we've got stuff to prepare for Halloween, and then we have Halloween Thursday night, and I don't know what we have going on Friday, but then the Saturday we're going out of town most of the day, so
Yep.
we're gonna be gone. So it's busy, 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 and that really wears on you too.
Yeah, and like I hate to miss a week in a way, and it's one of those things that I think it's inevitable unless we can get
Mhm.
ahead, on some of the recording.
That's
But
we
and
always want that.
yeah, but I think at the same time, like I want what we talk about to be topical, especially if we're talking about, events that are coming up and
Oh
things like
yeah.
that we want to do. Like it wouldn't do us any good to have recorded 2 weeks ago. Me saying, "Oh, I'm going to go racing on Friday," and then 3 weeks from now is when I finally give the recap on that. Like I want it to be,
Yeah, yeah.
relatively close. But I think too, like, and I've been saying this. People have asked for this on the Facebook page, and maybe we need to put like a poll in the group, right? But I think it would be fun to. We really need to do a live night where we just
Oh
like
yeah.
figure out how to live stream it on Facebook, and people can like
Yeah,
throw
yeah,
stuff in the
yeah.
chat, because then it's like it's not just bringing one guest on; it'll be literally
hmm
everybody can kind of participate.
Well,
I think it'd be fun.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Well, like, so you can go to the track. I don't know how your internet will be, but I thought about, maybe going live some just in here talking. Like I was sitting here waiting on you a little while ago, and I was just in here recording myself talking shit. And I thought about, I probably should go get on Facebook Live, and I can just sit on there and ramble, see if anybody pops up. But at that point, I didn't want to, jump away and then you show up, and
Yeah.
but uh
Yeah, I think
I
that'll be
mean,
good. I mean, like I said, folks have asked about it. We kind of and it, Mikey mentioned it last week. Like we'd planned to do that at LS Fest. I really wanted it to be where
yeah,
we captured more content, for the page or at least as shorts. But the data was just it was
it
non-existent.
was
And
awful.
really, looking back and what we'll do in the future, we'll definitely be okay. We can record throughout the day, kind of have a plan of things we want to go and get, like a few cars on Fender Row, get a few drag passes, get some drifting, like get a little bit of
Yeah,
all of it.
yeah.
And then when we get back to the hotel room,
You
we
can
can post it.
botch it all together.
But I think too,
Oh
like
yeah.
that's, kind of our one trip a year where we're all getting to hang out too. And while I love doing this, right, there's a part of me that's like,
Just
but
want
I'm
to be
here to
there in the
be in the
moment.
moment with my
hmm
buddies who I literally see in person one time. I think that's thing that we want to try to do more of is, get to events and actually capture content, especially when it's not, like I said, where we're trying to be kind of in the moment and not on social media as much, right? Because we're
Right,
there
right.
with people that, we want to be hanging out with.
Oh yeah. And I'm awful anymore at catching up on all my reels and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, yeah,
My
definitely. My plan is to try to hit up some more events. There is a local group. I think it's a dealership. They're working on setting up a cars and coffee or a car show or something
mhm.
in the next month or so. And so I talked to them about maybe possibly setting up a booth, and I could sit over there and just kind of talk shit with people, maybe
Yeah.
record some stuff. I sent out that message. I think we talked about it briefly. Um, I wanted somebody to get some pictures of the car before I go and pull all my stickers and shit off of it.
Oh yeah.
But then I seen something on a random Facebook group about like parades or something, and I'm like, wait a second, I'm gonna have a little more free time this year. Maybe I can throw my car in all like the Thanksgiving and Christmas parades in all of our local areas, and
Yeah.
maybe I'll add a little more stickers to them. I thought about peeling it off and then maybe doing like getting some like red and green like sparkle vinyl or something and redo them. But then I'm like, you know what? It's already got stuff on it. If I want to, I can add to it. So I don't know, or
You
maybe
know,
get somebody to get me a couple extra um, QR codes and throw them on the side of the car. Go through these parades.
so City of Gray does a Christmas parade every year. My wife
Mm-hmm.
and some of the folks I know were talking about doing a float. So maybe I could volunteer my truck to pull the float and
Mm-hmm.
then just slap some stickers on the side. Yeah, I got the ones on the back glass, the big ones. I could just add some on
Mm-hmm.
the side.
Mm-hmm.
Might or just, Just put the WS6 wheels back on the car and drive the car in the parade. So
Yeah.
we'll see. It would definitely
Or,
catch some ears.
hey, or you could have Mama driving one and you drive the other.
There you go. So yeah, that gives me some idea. I might do that with
Yeah.
the
You got your wheels, squeaky wheel turning.
for sure. All right. But yeah, so I know, I mean, we didn't talk a lot of car stuff tonight, but I think we talked some important stuff. And when you and I started
Mm-hmm.
this thing, that's what we said we wanted to be about, right? Like
Yeah.
we're all dads. We like cars. There's a few guys that have joined the group that are like, hey, I don't really have a cool car or whatever, but I'm glad to be here. And that's exciting too, right? Because at the end of
Yeah.
the day, the dads part of it, I think, is probably
Mm-hmm.
the
Oh
unifying
yeah.
thing for all of us. And, cars are cars. You can appreciate them even if you don't have one, or maybe you're not really into cars, but you
Mm-hmm.
still maybe you like weightlifting, right?
Yeah. And honestly, I know we've hit on the mental health stuff before in the past, and like the health and going to the doctor, and I'm sure that for me and probably both of us, I mean, that's something that I wouldn't mind bringing up every so often.
For sure.
Updates on ourselves or our life, and a lot of times, like we've discussed before, this is almost in a way our own little therapy.
Yeah, you guys
Just
get to
sit here
listen
and
to our
shoot the
therapy
shit.
session, especially when
Yeah,
it's
I
just the
mean,
two of us.
yeah, I mean, we're not we're so far away, but we get along well. We have a lot in common. But it's not like we can just go hang out and drink a beer and sit by a fire, you know, a couple weekends a month,
Yep.
just and shoot the shit. So, gotta figure out a way to do it somewhere.
My wife's been on me about doing a fire in the little fire pit. So
Yeah,
I think that's this weekend.
that'd be cool.
They're doing a so the Central Georgia car seat I mentioned. I'll be out doing test and tune on Friday night. They're back out. They're doing like a mini drag and drive. It's pretty cool. The idea. So they're going to meet at a mall. It's probably 35 minutes from the track. So basically, everybody meets there. You drive your car there. I guess you could trailer it there. I'd have to look. They got several different classes, but then you'll leave there. You drive from there to the track, convert the car if you need to, race,
Mhm.
and then you drive back to another location there in town. And basically, as long as you make passes and make both of those trips, it's a lot shorter trips and it's obviously not multiple tracks, but it's kind of an entry level drag and drive for somebody to maybe catch the
Yeah,
bug or whatever. And I had really planned on participating in it, but just having not tested the car enough, I don't think I'm going to this time around. I'm going to go Friday night, hang out with them, and do test and tune. But I think that's a really cool event, and so I think I'm going to skip the Saturday drag and drive and probably do. I got some limbs and stuff to cut down, and then Saturday night we'll have some friends over and have a fire and maybe cook
cool.
I don't know, might cook a pot of chili, or we
That's
like
what we
getting
have
together and
tonight.
doing a low country boil. And
So what's
that's my
that?
low country boil. Really?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
I ain't in Georgia.
Georgia. So, all right, I'm going to put a pin in Georgia. Don't let me forget. So,
Oh
no, I
God.
mean, big pot, like almost like you're doing a fish fry, right? Boil a bunch of water, put some Zatarans or some, and some Old Bay in it. Just crab oil, right? Throw shrimp,
Oh.
potatoes,
Mhm.
corn.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just a, you know, and it's Cajun seasoning, right? Sometimes you do crawfish, do crab legs, right?
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't familiar with the term, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So we like to
Yeah.
get in the day. You just dump it on the table, then everybody just kind of eats, and
Mhm.
it's it's a good time. So with us doing low carb, right? We still want to do low country bowls with our friends. So for a good while there, we started putting Brussels sprouts in ours. Now I know some people are going
I
to call
like Brussels
sacrilege,
sprouts.
but I'm going to tell you, Brussels sprouts in low country, they soak up a lot of flavor, and it turned out
So
really
yeah.
good.
So I've never tried, like I've had boiled Brussels sprouts a couple times. We typically will do them. I mean, we ate a bunch of bullshit, but like with a really good steak, like I like to do like a good ribeye and a sweet potato. I do salt, pepper, and butter on my sweet potato. I don't do the cinnamon, sugar, and all that. I
Yeah.
just never. I'm not a sweets person.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but then we'll do Brussels sprouts, and we'll quarter or halve them, and we'll cook them in a small cast iron skillet with butter, salt, pepper, garlic, some onion chopped up, and just kind of cook them in there. And then once they kind of start getting a little bit crispy, we'll throw a whole bunch of like mozzarella all over it.
Mm.
And then like real bacon or bacon bits, like the real bacon bits, and then toss it in the oven to melt all the cheese into them.
So
Oh, it's great.
I'm sure you guys probably have Bonefish Grill. I think it's kind of a bigger chain.
I know what it is, but we don't have them where I'm at. But
Yeah.
they're around the state, I believe.
Yeah, I knew they weren't like local, but we'll go there every now and again, especially like if we're having kind of a date night and we weren't really sure where we were going to go.
Hmm.
Bonefish for us consistently is good food, great service. It's almost never like super busy. You can kind of walk in. The prices aren't that crazy, but they've got Brussels sprouts there, and it has like a sweet and sour
Yeah,
glaze
yeah.
and
I know what
sauce that
you're
it
talking
comes
about.
with, and they're roasted like that, so they're not
Yeah,
boiled. Man,
yeah,
they're so good, and we've tried to
yeah,
replicate them at home, and we haven't quite gotten it yet, but we go there and it's like a side, but you can get like an appetizer size
yeah.
portion of it, and that's what we do. We just get like an appetizer and sit there and eat Brussels sprouts before
Well,
our meal.
so the first time I had them like that was at Longhorn Steakhouse, and
Theirs are good.
I think it's like one of their premium sides or something. But
Mhm.
it's a Brussels sprout, and that's where I first had them like that. And so then my wife was like, "Let's try them at home," and she nails it. It's what I like ours way better than theirs. I
Awesome.
mean, not saying that it's better, but I like it better.
Right.
So
It saves you a lot of money too.
yeah, oh my god. The crazy thing is, I remember when I was a kid and I was still living at home with my mom and my sister, and like my wife and kids have even told me to do it. They're like, "Hey, can you make just buttered noodles for us? We'll just it's an easy side with kids. Elbow macaroni. I like doing them with bow ties because I like the different texture. Um, but just put butter on them, salt and pepper, and you stir it around. You have it all melted. Well, like my mom and sister and like my wife and kids are like, "Well, can you do it? You always do it better." I'm like, "You're just boiling noodles and putting butter and salt and pepper on it." They're like, "Yeah, but you get like the ratios better." I'm like, "Well, it's because anything I make, I always like will mix it, try a little bit of something, and I'll get it to where I like it.
Right.
And maybe I just have better taste than everybody. I mean, that's
Maybe
what I feel. So
that's I get that ratio on a grilled cheese. I
oh
can
yeah.
hook it up.
So I've got a heart attack grilled cheese I used to make all the time.
Oh
So
boy.
I would butter both sides of the bread really well. And then I would probably do like I would just like chuck butter in the pan. I didn't do anything else, and I would cook them in butter. And it was just like a pool of butter. And I would cook both pieces of bread in it, and it was like frying the bread basically in butter.
It's like a braised
And
grilled cheese or
oh,
something.
it's so great. Yeah. And then I'd flip them, and then cook them a little bit on the other side. And it's always at least two pieces of cheese,
You got to do two.
and yeah, it's just two. And then you
Otherwise, you're
put them
stingy.
together, and then I would kind of smash them a little bit, and it would just like I said, the crust of it was like nice and crispy and like buttery flavored, but it's so bad for you.
Look,
I've cut
I'll
it
tell
down
you.
a lot,
Speaking
but
of
it's
that,
still bad.
I love I love cheddar cheese. I love all cheese. I don't
Yeah,
discriminate except
yeah.
for blue cheese, but that we won't go down that road. So, and we're talking about ingredients that aren't great for you, but a
Mhm.
grilled cheese with good old American like Kraft singles is just
Oh yeah,
it's just where it's at. Like I like a grilled
exactly.
cheese with cheddar cheese, but a good grilled cheese is always just gonna have American cheese on it
So
or Colby Jack.
I'm not a huge cheddar fan. Now I like them. I like mild cheddar, but it's just I don't mind the flavor. It's just not my favorite. Like
Yeah,
I've always liked Swiss, pepper jack, Colby jack, mozzarella, whatever. But
it's
just for whatever
funny.
reason,
Swiss is probably my least favorite.
really.
Yeah, I mean, I
Now,
like Gouda. I like I
right?
love Colby Jack and
Yeah.
especially mozzarella, but just Swiss. I don't dislike it, but it's just not my favorite cheese. We could do a
Well,
whole segment on cheese.
I like it. I like with like a turkey sandwich, and like a club or something.
Yeah,
That's what I like it with. Now, ham. We're gonna get the ham, country ham. Salty country ham. I
of
mean,
course.
uh,
Country's always better.
yeah. I mean, that's what I grew up on, Smithfield hams and all that. That's where
Hmm.
my mom grew up, and my grandmother still lives there. And I remember staying with her during the summer, and hell, she'd get like a ham from somebody local that smoked it and did all that. And I mean, I'm like, this is where it's at.
Yep.
And the how the hams got that salty, right?
Hmm.
So it was back from where they in the Tidewater region of Virginia. It's where they feed the pigs all the peanut shells.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're big on peanuts in the Tidewater areas. That's what they always said. Why their ham's so much better because a lot of times the pigs would eat the peanut shells, peanut hulls, or
Okay.
peanuts, and I'm
So,
like, it's funny, but it's not true. But it's a good old saying or whatever.
so we've went from health and talking about how it's important to pay attention to what's going in
Eating
your bodies
salt,
to a lot of cheese and country ham. But
butter, and
we can dream, and sometimes you can cheat a little bit. Just stay consistent. Get back on it after you
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but no, I think this has been good. I've enjoyed
Yeah,
this. It was a little different change of
yeah.
pace, and if we've got somebody lined up maybe to come in with us next week, I will say again, I'm off all day Monday, so if we're able to record on Monday, it's gonna be great. Otherwise, I'm out of town the rest of the week. So if there ever was a week that we might end up maybe not getting one, it might be next week. So, but
Right.
I'm gonna try to make something happen on Monday. I think that'll be
Hmm.
ideal. And yeah, we got to get, I'm just going to put this out there because we got to get Steve on. We've talked to him about it. Steve's just a busy guy. But I wanted
Hmm.
to get him to come on and talk about the Blue Camaro and his passes at LS Fest. I know,
Hmm.
obviously that was at this point a month and a half ago, but he
Yeah,
went, he
him being
ran,
a daddy.
yeah, he ran some personal bests. Like I want him to come on and talk about it and talk
Oh,
about all the cool stuff on his car. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It'd be a good time.
well, cool, man. Well, unless you got any last minute words, I think we'll wrap it up here. And then if you want to give a quick last thoughts, and then we'll call it.
So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm sorry it was a little serious, more serious than we normally are, and we talked about a little bit more, real life topics than cars. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I mean, we'll probably do this every so often. Every now and then, I think we just both need the vent. I feel that both of us have been, you've been kind of stressed lately. I've been stressed in the new job, so it's nice just to kind of get on and just shoot the shit about whatever life, something other than everything going on.
Yeah,
But
and
no,
and seriously, like the group that we made, like that's what it's for. And
hmm,
if I'll be honest, like if you're like, man, I got to reach out to somebody, and you don't want to put it out in the group for everybody to see, right?
hmm,
Like message the page. Chris and I are checking that
hmm,
all the time. It comes right to our phones.
yep,
Don't sit there and struggle in silence. If you need somebody to talk to or whatever, we definitely do the best we can. I'm literally at a computer all day. Right, that's my job. So
I am most of the time now.
I might be in meetings, but I won't leave you hanging as
Yeah,
much as I can. So,
yeah, yeah.
but we appreciate each and everybody, like everybody that shared the group. Like it's been super active. That's been really cool to see. So keep using that. And yeah, like I said, this is a little bit of a serious one, but we'll have more high octane hijinks after I make
Yeah,
it to the track on Friday.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and yeah, maybe I'll do a little walk around of the daughter's
yeah. That'd be pretty cool
new car. We're looking at it's an Acura RDX, so a
with the Tesla.
little SUV.
Heck yeah.
No, but surprisingly, I think I saw on Demon Jones' story the other day. I think they picked up a Cybertruck, but they were like
Ooh.
romping it around the farm out there where he lives. It looked like so.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if he's legitimately going to use it a lot or if it's like a whistling diesel kind of thing. I doubt it is.
yeah. Who knows?
I gotta say, like, I got my gasoline forever shirt. I'll lose my cool guy card a little bit for this. Like, there are people where an electric vehicle is a perfectly viable option for
Oh,
what you
absolutely.
do.
I agree.
And if you want to own one, I have no problem with anybody's right to own one if that's what they want. If you drive short distances, EV trucks got a long way to go. I think I said
Hmm.
when the EV Silverados first launched, I was like, if you could make a compelling argument, like the towing capacity and torque on them should in theory be better,
Hmm.
I'd be cool with that. But I can't. I mean, it's 60 something miles to the track. So like I couldn't put
Hmm.
this on a trailer on an EV pickup and go to the track and make it home without a way to charge it while I was at the track, which is just
Right.
silly. So,
Yeah.
it's the just technology's got a ways to go before it's practical for most people. But hey, if you got a short commute, you want an electric car, you do you, man, because they got a lot of torque and they're, it's obvious that they're fast, but
Hmm.
they don't sound as cool.
I wonder how they do. I won't get too far into it. We can bring this up in another episode. Maybe we can talk to somebody that knows a little bit more about them. But
Yeah,
I
if you're
wonder
into
how they.
EVs and you want to come talk to us, like we're
Yeah.
not going to just be like, "Oh, you
No.
suck." Like I legitimately want to understand them more, but I just the
Yeah.
practicality doesn't make sense to me right
Right.
now. But go ahead, Chris.
I wonder how they do, like you said, with the trucks, you know, the towing, all they got a lot of torque. I wonder how those electric motors do when they are under a heavy load, you know?
Yeah.
So if they really like, so I've got my little e-bike thing I have out here, the, you know, the little scooter thing, and I can have it fully charged, you know, and I'm a heavy guy, and you can hit it and see the little battery thing just go, meow, and it sucks the battery down, and it'll pop back up when you let out the throttle. And I'm just kind of curious on how that works with the EVs. And like, I know they have instant torque and all that, but like, if they really are pulled down super hard in a different way than, you know, an internal combustion engine. And I mean, I know there's a whole lot of different shit in it, and you know, I don't know much of everything. I know a lot about a little, or a little about a lot.
There
That's
you
what it is.
go. Mm-hmm.
Something like that. But
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, and even if you say, okay, well, we've tested it and it does okay under heavy load, but for how long?
yeah, that's kind of
And
what I'm
then
getting
what's
at.
the longevity, um, 10 years from now, right? So, I mean, again, if somebody wants to come
Yeah,
on and discuss these things, because I know somebody just with a hybrid vehicle, right? So it's got
yeah,
the hybrid battery in it. And she had, I mean, I think she had probably 190,000 miles on it, right? But she went to trade the car in and they're like, we'll give you $1,500 for it because the battery replacement was 10 grand. So
right.
for them to give you much for the trade wasn't worthwhile. So what's the aftermarket
Mhm.
value going to be when you're ready to trade it in and the batteries only last for so long? Like there's just so many
Right,
logistical problems that I see with it that I
right.
just don't see it being viable long term unless the way people own and operate vehicles and trade vehicles changes.
Well,
I'm one to keep one for a long period of time,
I am too.
and so if I can't keep an EV for 7 years because the battery is eventually going to degrade, I mean, hell, my phone doesn't hold the same charge it did 2 years
No,
ago.
no.
You know,
Well,
and I'm
I'm going.
oversimplifying it, but
I'm going to cut this off here because we can make a whole episode about this.
well, we need to.
But in my thought of it is, I was very against it many years ago. I see the benefit of it now in comparison to kind of how we are now, and it is, you know, a society and a world, whatever. But the hybrids, in my opinion, are the best stepping stone, the
Right.
best option for us to go to. I know the whole Prius thing, and you know, car guys, but the Prius was a great car for what it is. I still see a ton of those first generation ones out.
Yeah, they're
There's a
everywhere.
pile of them on the road. I mean, given, you know, like I said, the batteries and so on and so forth, but there's a ton of them out there with a pile of miles, and most of them have pretty decent interiors and whatnot, good commuters, like, you know, around town, or commuter cars. They're great. There's a ton of them around still.
And another one of my questions, because and I'll admit my ignorance on it, which is why I want to understand more, because that's just how I am with like a hybrid or a Prius. Right? When the battery is degraded to a point it really doesn't hold a charge, it's not doing much anymore. Is it still drivable just as a internal
Yes,
combustion vehicle and
I don't
you're
know.
just using it and it's still got a small-ish high gas mileage engine, or is it useless once the battery's no good? Like
Right.
that's questions I'd love real answers to, and
Yeah.
I'm sure I could research it, but I'd like to talk to somebody who is investor, likes that
Right.
platform, because I can definitely see. I feel like you could sell the general populace on a hybrid far more than you could
Right.
just straight EV. So, yeah, future topic. We need to do that one for
Well,
sure. It'll
how
probably be
about
one of those
this?
long
If
ones.
you're listening and you know anything, you know, a lot more than what we know about the topic, you know, reach out to us and we can have you on and we can discuss it, because I'm all for it. I mean, I'm all for learning new things, and you know, I want to do it. So let us know.
Heck yeah,
We'll
for
definitely
sure.
have you on.
All right. Well, we are approaching the kids' bedtimes. I know I say that every
Yeah,
time, but we definitely are. And then I missed it
yeah,
last week, but we had a great conversation last week. It was a long
yeah,
episode. I hope everybody bared with us on it. But some feedback so far has been good about the longer ones.
yeah.
So this one's going to be a little over an hour. So if you
Mm-hmm.
guys like this, we'll keep it up. But we need that feedback. So make
Yeah,
sure you're commenting. Hit us up on the Facebook page or group.
yeah.
Biggest thing is share this stuff with your friends. If you're listening on Spotify, hit us up with a rating on Spotify because that
Mm-hmm.
helps tremendously.
Yep.
And yeah, we appreciate each and every one of you.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Well, have a good evening, folks.
Yeah. So yeah.